Museum Station Legacy hung in the orbit of the neutral zone. 32 species, one collection, the history of war. The Earth sector occupied the farthest corner. Naturally, Curator Veles led the delegation past displays of Kridak plasma catapults, past Solrim quantum disintegrators. Their weapons sang, glowed, vibrated at frequencies that shattered matter. And then she stopped at a dusty display case. "Human armament," she announced. Her mandibles clicked in what her species considered a smile, a specimen of primitivism. Behind the glass lay an M4, carbine, polymer, and aluminum. Next to it, a box of cartridges. Brass gleamed dully under the lights. The delegation moved closer. "Humans," Veles waved a limb dismissively. "A backward race, stuck in the era of chemical projectors. They literally hurl pieces of metal through explosions. No guidance, no elegance." Young diplomat Zenar tilted his head. "And this race still hasn't mastered plasma technology. They're stuck centuries behind," Veles clicked her mandibles. "While we built quantum disintegrators they perfected, powder tubes. The Galactic Council even discussed aid for development, but humans are too stubborn, clinging to their primitive traditions." "A pitiful sight," one of the delegates agreed. No one noticed the human. He stood in the shadows, station technician's uniform gray and faceless. Jacob Kane, former Marine, current custodian. His job: polish display cases and change light bulbs. He said nothing. The siren wailed 3 minutes later. Red light spilled through the corridors. The automated voice, calm and dead. "Perimeter breach. Unidentified vessels. Evacuation protocol activated." Veles froze. Pirates in the neutral zone. It was impossible. It was suicide. But the pirates didn't care. The first explosion shook the station. The glass of the plasma catapult display cracked. Station security drones activated, their servos whining. 10 seconds later, all 7 fell apart. Hacked. Reprogrammed. System offline. The delegation ran toward evacuation airlocks. Veles shouted into her communicator, demanding help. No response. Communications jammed. They almost reached the airlock when the door burst open. Pirates, 4 of them, heavy armor, pulse carbines in hand. Ragtag gang, a crag, 2 sectori, 1 Nell. Their weapons hummed, charges ready. "Delegates," the crag rasped, his voice through the translator sounding like rusted metal. "Ransom will be good." Zenar raised his hands. Veles tried to activate the emergency transmitter on her wrist. The crag fired. The pulse passed centimeters from her head, melting the panel behind her. "Next one goes through the heart." No one breathed. Jacob Kane walked through the dark corridor. In his hands, a crowbar. In his pocket, a lockpick. He knew the station better than his own scars. Museum sector, Earth display. The glass wasn't armored. Who would think to steal primitive weapons? Strike, crack, glass scattered. Jacob took the M4. Metal was cold, familiar. He checked the barrel, clean, bolt, works. Magazine, 30 rounds full. He found 3 more in the exhibit box. 120 shots. He inserted the magazine, racked the bolt. Click. The sound made him smile, first time in 3 years. Corridor, echo of voices. Pirates leading the delegation to their ship, weapons at the hostages' backs. Jacob didn't hurry. He moved silently, pressing against walls, using shadows. The pirates were overconfident, station system broken, drones dead. No one could stop them. Jacob took position on the upper walkway, 20 meters, 45-degree angle, poor lighting. He aimed. The first shot tore through silence like thunder. The sound wasn't like their weapons. Not a whistle, not a hum. This was an explosion, primitive, brutal, absolute. The bullet pierced Nell's throat. He fell before understanding what happened. The crag spun around, his carbine seeking a target. Second shot, third. Jacob fired in short bursts, 2-3 rounds, precise, fast. The M4 trembled in his hands, but he compensated for recoil instinctively. The fourth pirate tried to take cover behind the delegates. Bad decision. Jacob shot the wall nearby. Ricochet. Fragments of concrete and metal exploded in a cloud. The pirate recoiled, and in that moment the bullet found his shoulder. He dropped his weapon. The crag was smarter. He dove behind a column, pulse carbine releasing a charge blindly. The panel above Jacob's head melted. He rolled back, quick, quiet. The crag waited, listened. Jacob circled left through the ventilation passage. Tight, dark. He emerged 20 meters behind the pirate. Aimed at the unprotected spot between armor and helmet. One shot. The crag slumped to the floor. Silence returned, thick, ringing in ears. Jacob lowered his weapon, checked the magazine, 18 rounds left. The delegation stood pressed against walls. Veles looked at him as if seeing a ghost. That sound. I thought humans had long abandoned this archaic technology. Gunpowder, Jacob said, reloading. The old magazine fell to the floor with a metallic clang. Invented 600 years ago, still works. Zenar stared at the dead pirates. But their armor, it should only be penetrated by high-level plasma charges. How could backward technology? Kinetic energy, Jacob explained, checking the corridor. Mass times velocity. Physics doesn't become obsolete. Maybe we're a backward race, but our primitive bullets work. He led them to evacuation pods. 2 more pirates tried to stop the group along the way. They heard gunshots, sharp, fast, final. They heard nothing after. The pods launched. The delegation was saved. Jacob stayed. The station was his responsibility. He found the last pirate in the control center, trying to crack the artifact safe. Saw Jacob, raised his hands. Don't shoot. I have a family, I just need money. Jacob lowered the carbine. Get out. The pirate ran to the airlock. His ship was already undocking, leaving him behind. 2 weeks later, Veles returned. The station was repaired, security reinforced. Jacob polished display cases. She found him in the Earth sector. The M4 was back in place, but the plaque had changed. M4 carbine, Earth, 1994, used in defense of station legacy, status, operational. Veles read it and looked at him. I wrote a report. The council wants to study your weapons, understand the principle. We, perhaps, underestimated humanity. The principle is simple, Jacob said, not looking up from his work. Reliability over complexity. Bullets don't depend on battery power. Gunpowder isn't jammed by interference. Triggers aren't hacked. But it's so primitive. We always considered you backward precisely because of this. Jacob finally looked at her. In space, everyone expects quantum weapon attacks. Defense systems are tuned to energy signatures. No one is prepared for a piece of lead flying faster than sound. You call us backward, but it was our backwardness that saved you. He ran his hand over the carbine. Sometimes the best weapon is the one they don't expect. Veles was silent for a long time. We'll place a copy in the main hall, with full description. Not a copy, Jacob said. The real thing with ammunition. That's dangerous. He smiled. That's the point. Months later, military academy cadets of 8 species studied the principles of firearms. Simplicity, reliability, independence. Some called it a step backward. Those who survived the first encounters called it an advantage. And in the museum at Station, Legacy, in a display case no one called primitive anymore, lay a carbine. Next to it a casing, one and a plaque. High-tech may thrill, but lead does the kill.